wanted to be this person that you thought I was.
When you love someone, you have to be careful with it. You might never get it again.
Most people, when they think of Tom Ford, think of the fashion maven, the very successful designer, but others know him also as a very promising director, based 7 years ago on his first film, A Single Man, that starred Colin Firth, and won at the Venice Film Festival for Best Actor. It earned Colin Firth an Oscar nomination. Well, it's taken 7 years for Tom Ford to make his second film, but it does not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. It's called Nocturnal Animals, and if you see echoes of Alfred Hitchcock or David Lynch, Douglas Sirk, Brian De Palma, Stanley Kubrick, Sam Peckinpah, you wouldn't be mistaken.
Hey, Turk.
But all of those inspirations and influences mixed together in a bit of a stew that is pure Tom Ford. And he's made a very smart, exciting, suspenseful, thinking man's thriller that is definitely for adult audiences that they will savor. This is the kind of movie we don't see a whole lot of anymore. It's very complex, and it involves a story within a story. It begins when the character played by Amy Adams, Susan Morrill, she receives a manuscript in the mail one day called Nocturnal Animals.
My ex-husband used to call me a nocturnal animal. I've been thinking about him a lot lately. And then recently he sent me this book that he's written. It's violent and it's sad. And he dedicated it to me.
Reading the book, she soon discovers very uncomfortable truths about her own relationship with Edward and the anger he has distilled into the pages of this book based on their relationship of many years ago. The movie goes back and forth between the actual novel. It becomes to life in the form of a family. Jake Gyllenhaal plays the father here, Tony. His wife, Laura, is played by Isla Fisher. They're on a vacation driving down a very desolate road and get into a confrontation with another car. Begins a little cat and mouse game, particularly between Tony and the leader of this group. He is Aaron Taylor Johnson. Excellent performance here. It escalates to the point where the mother and daughter are driven off with these guys, and it leads Tony alone in the desert there, trying to figure out what to do and how to find his family again. And that leads him to a detective brilliantly played by Michael Shannon. Hopefully he gets an Oscar nomination for this role. And he tries to solve the mystery of what happened here as he confronts and tries to find again these people.
What you got to say about this man's wife and daughter?
I don't know nothing about that. I've never seen him before in my life.
What you gonna tell me about Ray and Turk?
Who?
Who? What are you, an owl?
Meanwhile, back to our story with Susan and Amy Adams, we have another aspect of the story that tells us in flashback the story of Susan and Edward and what happened during their relationship there. This is a movie, complicated, yes, but absolutely riveting to watch, very tricky. Tom Ford navigates all of this brilliantly with a great cast, and I want to do a big shout out as well for Laura Linney, who's basically in for one big scene as Susan's mother, and she nails it. I kept hoping, let's see more of her in this. At any rate, it's highly entertaining, and as you might expect, with Tom Ford's eye for design, great production design, cinematography, a tremendous music score. It's a movie that also makes you think about your own relationships, about the meaning of masculinity. This is a movie for thinking adults, and I think these adults should run to the theater and see Nocturnal Animals. I say go.